welcome to another edition of Marquette in Motion. We're your hosts, Morgan Minster
and Amber Krieg. Today we'll be sharing the results of a teacher survey, reporting on some various music festivals our students will be attending, rocking out with the girls in jam time, interviewing our varsity girls volleyball coach, answering your questions in You Ask, We Answer.
We also, as always, will be updating you on Marquette sports and events. But first of all, we all know that the teachers at Marquette are some of the best around. They're always encouraging their students to learn more, even outside the classroom.
So this week, Morgan and I decided to ask the teachers for their recommendations. We asked all of the high school teachers which books they recommend that all of their students should read. What do they have to say, Morgan?
Well, I quite agreed with Mrs. Timmerman, our science teacher, who said To Kill a Mockingbird was a must-read for her students. It's also one of my favorites. Another great answer was our English teacher, Mr. Bishop, with the book The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
The Alchemist is actually required reading for Mr. Bishop's junior class, and is also one of my favorites from that year. Our Spanish teacher, Mrs. Stickrod's recommendation is the popular young adult novel The Giver by Lois Lowry. But my favorite recommendation came from our school's choir teacher, Miss Sieverding, who recommended that all students pick up the Harry Potter series.
Can't argue with that one. I was surprised when our theology teacher, Mrs. Feller, didn't say the Bible, but nonetheless, she did say The Shack, a book about our relationship with God, was one of her favorites. How to Find Your Soulmate Without Losing Your Soul was our guidance counselor, Miss Schmidt's favorite.
Our social studies teacher, Mr. Hollinsby, said The Sacred Acre, a story about Ed Thomas and the 2008 Parkersburg tornado. And to wrap it all up, Mrs. Storm, our math teacher, said The Gift by Richard Paul Evans was one of her favorites. I personally think that the teachers made fantastic choices.
Well, let's make our own fantastic choice and turn it over to jam time. What do you have for us today, girls?
Well, we have a little fun created just for you.
We'd like to talk about the week and give some other snippets, too.
Speaking of books, we had a book fair last week.
The school raised some money, and shoppers got great books to keep.
The volleyball girls won their game on Tuesday night.
They play again this Tuesday. State could be in sight.
On Thursday afternoon, XC had their district run.
Anna Frank will go to state. Congrats on a great job done.
Soon our theater troupe will perform The Diary of Anne Frank.
And there's a bonus show. Stay tuned for the dates.
Last night, PTO hosted a party. We weren't invited, darn.
It was only for the middle schoolers. It was held in someone's barn.
Which really set the stage for this Halloween dance.
I bet those kids got scared, maybe nearly wet their pants.
There was even a contest for the best costumes.
And some great decorations, like mummies and tombs.
Were there any vampires dressed up last night?
I'm not sure, but blood was drawn at Wednesday's blood drive.
Well, we had a lot of fun jamming with you today.
We have a commercial coming up, so don't go away.
For Marquette in Motion, this has been Justina Denlinger,
Allison Hager,
Megan Litter,
and Mackenzie Kilberg with
Jam Time! We're back with Marquette in Motion. I hope no one was left questioning our return. And speaking of questions, I think it's time to answer all of our audience questions in You Ask, We Answer with Lauren Kilberg. Morgan has this week's questions all ready to go.
Thanks, Amber. Let's get right to it. The first question submitted this week asks about the high school's annual Make a Difference Day. The question asks, I read about Make a Difference Day in the local paper, but what exactly is this day all about?
Make a Difference Day is a high school volunteer day hosted by Marquette's Honor Society every fall. This year, it will be held on October 29th. This day, which encourages students to make positive impacts in their community, begins with morning prayer service. Every high school student is then put into a group with an adult chaperone. Each group has a list of specific tasks which they have to accomplish throughout the course of the day, ranging from raking leaves and washing windows for community members to volunteering at Mill Valley Care Center and helping to set up the St. Donatus Parish Center for their local pancake and sausage breakfast. If you're in the Bellevue community and have a job you need any assistance with, call the Marquette office at 872-3356.
Speaking of assistance, our next question comes from a Marquette student who sounds like she could use some. She writes, I just don't have enough time to get everything that I need to accomplish done. With a 7 o'clock class 3 days a week, multiple practices every day after school, and normal homework and test studying, there's barely enough time to sleep. Do you have any words of advice, Lauren?
Well, I know that this seems to be an issue that many Marquette High School students, myself included, have to overcome. Being involved in so many activities is a wonderful opportunity presented to Marquette students. However, such involvement does bring along with it many challenges, and sleep deprivation is definitely one of them. I think the best advice I could give on this issue is to simply use your time wisely. Even 10 minutes of downtime can be valuable. Use these opportunities to finish work between practices, begin studying for your tests in advance, and try not to procrastinate projects and other assignments. Also, don't be afraid to ask your teachers for help. I think one of my favorite things about Marquette is the fact that every single teacher is willing to give of their time and expertise before and after school to work individually with any student. Philippians 4:13 comes in handy too. That verse reads, "I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me." Thanks for the question.
Sounds like good advice we can all use, Lauren. Our final question must come from a loyal listener. He asks if senior interviews will be featured on our program this year.
Well, this listener must have tuned into our program last year to hear all of those senior interviews. No need to worry. Brooklyn Moore will be interviewing all of our seniors on their Marquette experience and post-Marquette plans in the upcoming weeks in her segment, No More.
Thanks for all those answers, Lauren, but I'm afraid there's no more time left for you. Remember to send us question submissions for next week at marquetteinmotion@marquettecatholic.com. Now I'm turning it over to Christina Coos with her report on some exciting upcoming choir activities.
Whether they're on the field, the court, the stage, or in the classroom, Marquette is filled with many talented students. Today, I'm here to tell you about some of the students' great successes musically this year. Sixth graders Holly Beecham, Allison Ketman, Kaylee Coos, and Sophie Long have recently been selected to be members of the Opus Choir. Students in grades 5 through 9 audition for Opus by singing a selection from My Country 'Tis of Thee, along with a small cut from a song that will be performed during the Opus concert. The audio-recorded auditions are submitted online where auditors listen and complete a rubric to decide which students are best prepared. Approximately 3,000 students submit audition recordings, and 180 students are chosen per choir, totaling 720 singers from 5th through 9th graders. The choir will perform at Iowa State University on Thursday, November 19th at 4 p.m. High school students Lauren Kilberg, Erica Timmerman, John Stroyan, Brooklyn Moore, and Sunny North are hoping to claim a spot in the 600-member Iowa All-State Choir. These students are actually auditioning for a spot in that prestigious choir today. They have been practicing almost every morning before school and have attended various workshops throughout the summer and on the weekends to prepare for today's auditions. The Iowa All-State Choir works in this manner. Iowa is divided into 6 districts, and each one has a host school where students in other nearby schools audition. Depending on the number of students who register that day, judges are given a quota of sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses to be chosen in their districts during auditions. Approximately 2,500 students audition, with only 600 students being accepted into the choir. Each hopeful member is responsible for learning 8 high-level pieces. Early this morning, choir teachers, Miss Sieverning included, were informed via email which sections of the songs the groups would be singing for the judge. Songs are sung a cappella, that is, without instrumental accompaniment. After all groups have been heard, first-round selections are made. After this process, some students may be recalled. In a recall situation, judges want to hear certain singers again, but this time, singers are heard individually. These soloists are given new selections to sing for the panel of judges, once again a cappella. After reflecting on all the groups heard earlier in the day, and after considering all the recalled students, the judges then make their final selections. A listing of all members chosen for the Iowa All-State Choir is then finally posted. We wish the best of luck to all of our singers. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Christina Coos. And here to take us to commercial are our Opus Choir members, 6th graders Holly Beecham, Allison Ketman, Kaylee Coos, and Sophie Long.
The water is wide. The water is wide. I cannot cross o'er. I cannot cross o'er. Neither have I. Neither have I. No wings to fly. No wings to fly. Lift me up, Lord. That can carry two. That can carry two. And both shall row. My true love and I. My true love and I.
Welcome back to Marquette in Motion. Sam Peters and Jonathan Herrig are here with your Marquette Sports and Updates report.
Thanks, Morgan. This past Thursday, both Marquette cross-country teams ran at Seminole Valley Park by Cedar Rapids for the 2015 state qualifying meet. The top 3 teams and top 15 individuals of the race qualify for state, and there was over 100 runners that competed. The Marquette girls ran their best, but sadly they were only able to finish in 4th place as a team. However, Annika Frank led the team and placed 12th overall, meaning she will run at the state cross-country meet next Saturday. Great job, Annika. The boys' team ran hard as well, with 4 out of the 7 varsity runners running their best time of the year. Congratulations are on both teams for having a great season.
Thanks, Sam. Last Thursday on October 15th, the varsity volleyball team played in the tournament for the overall conference championship. They played against Midland on Marquette's home court. It was a close match for the entire night, with both teams having won 2 sets. The final set was close for the entire time until the end, where Marquette fell short by only a few points. This past Tuesday, Marquette played in its first district game of the year against Easton Valley at home in the MEC. Marquette was dominant in the first 3 sets. Marquette will go on to play Midland once again in the MEC on this Tuesday at 7 o'clock. If Marquette wins, they will have one more district game as well as the sub-state game before yet another state appearance is possible. Good luck, girls.
In other updates, Marquette High School will present The Diary of Anne Frank on November 12th, 13th, and 14th at 7 p.m. And Marquette Student Council Chicken Dinner will be that same weekend on Sunday the 15th. Dinner will be served from 11 to 1:30. Until next time, this has been Sam Peters
and Jonathan Herrig with your Marquette Sports and Updates report.
Thanks, boys. Now on over to Brooklyn Moore with No More.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brooklyn Moore, and today I'll be interviewing Andrew Bishop. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Bishop is the high school English teacher at Marquette, and he's the varsity girls volleyball coach. How's the school year going so far for you, Mr. Bishop?
We're off to a great start. We're enjoying the new building. We're able to get things running pretty quickly and without too much trouble at all. The classes in my 5th year teaching now are starting to go a little bit more smoothly, and things are headed in the right direction.
That's good. Are you enjoying the new facilities?
Absolutely. There's so much more that we're able to do. We've got more whiteboard space. The desks are conducive to group learning, and just all in all, it has a much nicer academic feel that keeps the kids focused.
Okay. Well, the facility isn't the only new thing at Marquette. I believe you took classes over the summer in order for you to be able to teach a new AP English course at Marquette. What did you learn at the course?
Yeah, I wound up at the University of Iowa. It was a small course that taught basically the basics of AP language and composition. It was taught by a teacher who'd been on the AP board for a number of years. So he really helped me come to terms with what's on the test, what types of things they're looking for in their answers, and he helped me dive back into some of the literary theory that I learned back in college and how I can approach that at a high school level so that the students won't get lost right away.
I'm sure all the students are excited. Can I ask your favorite part of being an English teacher? Or should I have said, may?
My favorite part by far is being able to allow students to discover new things about themselves as they read, because through any good book, any good story, people are able to really understand more about themselves. And so that's probably my favorite part, is watching people learn things about themselves through the reading.
Very good. Well, as much as I love talking about school, I say we should switch over to sports. You coach volleyball and soccer, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so volleyball districts have already begun. I'm happy to say Marquette started off districts with a victory. What's your game plan for this coming Tuesday and hopefully for more games to follow?
Well, we definitely have a young team this year, and so what's been important for us in the last game and headed forward is everybody continues to improve and build on their last performance. We've had our rough patches as the season went along, but everybody was able to finally put it all together against Easton Valley. So our goal for Tuesday against Midland is to definitely continue to build on that, have everybody continue to step up and play their best. If we do that, we should be all right.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. So along with coaching volleyball and soccer, you also coach Quiz Bowl. I thought it would be very appropriate to end your interview with a Quiz Bowl question. So here's the question. Who is Mr. Bishop's favorite student? Just kidding, that's obvious, it's me. Okay, the real question. Who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin?
That would have to be Harriet Beecher Stowe.
Hey, you got it right. Great job. Thanks for letting me interview you, and good luck with Tuesday's game again. Keep tuning in to hear more interviews. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Brooklyn Moore.
Thanks for reporting, everyone.
And thanks for tuning in. For Marquette in Motion, this has been Morgan Minster
and Amber Krieg.
And remember, stay informed, stay involved, stay
in motion.